There's a harsh truth. Most of us don't miss out on chances because we lack talent, but because we overthink. You believe that thinking it through will keep you safe, but the truth is it's killing your time, your chances, and even your future. Think about it. How many times have you stayed up all night, replaying an old conversation in your head, running through every possible scenario? And then, the next morning, nothing has changed. Day after day, year after year, you're stuck in the same spot, while others have already moved far ahead. And if you keep going like this, 5 or 10 years later, you'll realize you've wasted an entire decade just because you were trapped in thoughts that never even happened in real life. The good news is, you can break free. There's a simple way out, powerful enough to end this cycle. What I can promise is if you stay with me until the end, you'll walk away with real tools to stop the loop, take back control, and start changing your life today. So let's start with the first truth. Part 1. The illusion of safety. Your brain's survival system is to keep making you think about the same problem over and over, as if it's life-threatening. A simple unread text or a job interview can make you panic. Let's figure out how to outsmart your brain together. Here's a little-known fact. Your brain is still running on software from tens of thousands of years ago. It wasn't built to keep you calm or happy. It was built to keep your ancestors alive. Imagine living 50,000 years ago. You hear something rustle in the bushes. Your brain instantly hits the alarm. Danger, could be a tiger. That reflex saved countless generations. But now, we're in the 21st century. No more tigers hiding in the bushes, no wild animals waiting to attack. Yet that same ancient alarm still rings. The only difference is, today, it goes off when you get an email from your boss, or when a message says "seen," but never gets a reply, or when you're about to make an important life decision. I once saw a friend skip his dream job interview just because his brain kept feeding him thoughts like, "They'll ask tough questions, I'll mess it up anyway." So he didn't go. I know that feeling. Back in college, just seeing my professor's name in my inbox made my heart race. My mind instantly spun up a dozen scenarios. Did I screw something up? Am I failing the class? Is my paper in trouble? But when I opened the email, it was only a notice about a classroom change. It's like having a home alarm system that screams at full volume whenever a cat runs by. The alarm is real, but there's no real danger. And here's the problem. When your brain keeps setting off false alarms, you end up living in constant stress, anxiety, and exhaustion. You start avoiding, delaying, or flat out refusing to act because deep down, you believe you're in danger. This is the mistake most of us make. We think, if my brain is warning me, there must be a reason. But the truth is, 90% of your daily fears aren't dangerous at all. They're just uncomfortable. And your brain doesn't know the difference between danger and discomfort. If you keep living this way, believing every false alarm, you might skip the interview because you're scared you're not good enough. Or you might never confess your feelings because you're afraid of rejection. 10 years later, you'll look back and realize you spent a whole decade running away from things that never even happened. That's the invisible prison your brain builds for you. Overthinking is a luxury prison you build for yourself. The good news is you can learn to tell the difference between a tiger and just a cat. Next time your mind starts to spiral, pause and ask yourself, is this really a threat or just discomfort that I'm blowing out of proportion? That simple question works like a reset button. It reminds you that most of the things you're worried about aren't threats at all. They're just fears created by your mind. And once you see the difference, you start to take back control. In the next part, we'll look at an interesting truth: how small actions can be powerful enough to break the cycle of overthinking. Part 2. Action over analysis. Have you noticed that the tasks you haven't done take up 10 times more space in your head than the ones you've already finished? The more you think, the less you do. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks haunt you, draining twice the mental energy. That's why you can't stop thinking about an email you haven't replied to, a paper you haven't written, or a conversation that hasn't even happened. Your brain hates open loops. Look at Michael Jordan, the American basketball legend. He didn't become the GOAT by sitting around analyzing every missed shot. After each failure, he went back on the court, trained, and turned mistakes into fuel. We often think, I'll start when I feel ready. But the truth is, you only feel ready after you've started. The biggest mistake is believing you need a perfect plan before taking action. In reality, the more you analyze, the easier it is to get stuck in the cycle of thinking more, worrying more, and delaying more. Action works like going to the gym. At home, you think of every excuse. It's hot, I'll be tired, it's too much effort. But the moment you step inside the gym, everything flows naturally. The cure for overthinking is small, immediate action. The 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it right away. Write one line of an email, open the file, jot down the idea. The Pomodoro Kickstart. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Promise yourself you'll only work for those 5 minutes. Most of the time, once you've started, momentum keeps you going. But if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, a year passes and you still haven't written the book you dreamed of. 3 years later, you haven't started the business you planned. 10 years later, you realize you've spent a whole decade stuck in getting ready without ever really acting. Clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It's the reward of action. Every small step, every little thing you do right now breaks the cycle of overthinking and opens up new paths. Mel Robbins, author of The 5-Second Rule, says it best, "You don't need to feel ready, you just need to count down and do it. Try it today." In the next part, we'll talk about one of the deadliest traps of overthinking, perfectionism. Because sometimes, what holds you back isn't lack of ideas or motivation. It's the false belief that if it's not perfect, I shouldn't even start. Part 3. The Trap of Perfection. Have you ever told yourself, I'll only post this video when it's perfectly polished. I'll only start when the plan has 0 flaws. Sounds reasonable, right? But in reality, that's the sneakiest trap of overthinking perfectionism. Think about Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb. He didn't sit in his lab for months trying to design the perfect bulb on paper. Instead, he tested thousands of filaments, failing again and again, and those failures are exactly what led him to success. If Edison had been stuck in the mindset of, I'll only do it when I'm sure it's right, we'd probably still be sitting in the dark. Perfectionism isn't about high standards, it's fear in disguise. Brené Brown, an American researcher on vulnerability, says perfectionism comes from the fear of judgment, not the desire to be excellent. A Stanford study even found that perfectionists spend up to 50% more time on tasks without improving quality. We hide fear under the label perfect. It tricks us into thinking we're seriously preparing, when really, we're just delaying. Many people confuse wanting to do well with being obsessed with perfect. Doing well means improving a little every day. Being obsessed with perfect means never starting at all. And the saddest part? You'll never know if you could have succeeded, because you never gave yourself the chance. You need to believe that progress matters more than perfection. Every attempt is a lesson. Every failure is one step closer to success. Every imperfect thing you share with the world creates more value than a perfect masterpiece hidden in your drawer. Remember, done is better than perfect. Finishing, even if it's not flawless, has the power to change your life. When you dare to act without demanding perfection, you start building something more valuable than success itself: confidence. And in the next part, we'll dive into how to build unshakable confidence so you can take action without fear. Stay tuned. Part 4. The Confidence Loop. Confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you build, one bold step at a time. Action creates confidence, not the other way around. Take Serena Williams, the American tennis legend. When she first started, she didn't walk onto the court overflowing with confidence. She was clumsy, doubtful, and faced tons of losses. But every time she picked up her racket, tried a new shot, and came back after defeat, she built confidence through action. Today, she's a global icon. So what changed? She didn't wait for confidence, she acted to create it. Here's one of the biggest mental traps: I'll speak in public once I feel confident, or I'll post my video once I feel good enough. And then what happens? They wait. A month, a year, years. But confidence never magically shows up because it's not a prerequisite. It's the result of action. You don't need confidence to start. You need to start to have confidence. When you act, even with the smallest step, your brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to reward. Dopamine doesn't just make you feel good. It reinforces the behavior, making you want to repeat it. That's the confidence loop. Think of confidence like fire. It doesn't exist in you by default. You have to strike a spark, and action is that spark. Each small step, each experience is another log on the fire, and over time, the flame grows stronger. So let me give you a practical way to build this loop. To grow confidence, start small and celebrate the tiny wins. Every action, no matter how small, is worth recognizing. This fuels your dopamine loop. Instead of setting the goal, become confident. Set the goal, talk to one stranger every day. Repeat the action and confidence will follow. You have two paths to choose from. Path 1, wait until you feel confident to begin. The result? You stay at the starting line. Path 2, take action even while nervous. With every step, you grow more confident. A year later, you're in a completely different place. Which path will you choose? Confidence is a muscle you train every day, and every small action is a step closer to your dream, a bigger career, a freer life. But there's a silent enemy that can break this loop. It doesn't come from the outside world, it comes from within, the inner critic that whispers you're not good enough, you'll fail, you'll embarrass yourself. And in the next part, we'll uncover how to turn that critic into your teacher. Final part, fighting your inner critic. That harsh voice in your head, the one saying you're not good enough or don't try, you'll fail, is not a coach, it's a saboteur. It's time to take the mic back and set yourself free for good. This is the inner critic, that judgmental voice living in your head, born from fear, whispering every day that you're not enough. Imagine you're an artist. You want to post your painting online, but the moment you open the app, that voice pops up, this painting isn't good. People will laugh. Don't embarrass yourself. So you close the phone, and the painting stays hidden in your sketchbook forever. That's what happens when you let the inner critic run the show. But here's the catch. Many people believe self-criticism makes them stronger. Research by Kristen Neff at the University of Texas shows self-criticism actually triggers the shame circuit in the brain, the same one linked to fear and avoidance, not growth. In that state, you're not improving, you're just running away. On the other hand, self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness, lights up the parts of the brain tied to learning and behavior change. Meaning, you actually improve faster when you treat yourself like a friend, not an enemy. Stop thinking being hard on yourself equals discipline. Real discipline comes from consistent action, not beating yourself up. You don't get better at guitar by cursing yourself every time you miss a note. You get better by practicing, messing up, fixing it, and trying again. Here's the lesson. Change the question. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I learn? Freedom doesn't come from killing the inner critic. It'll always be there. It comes from refusing to let it drive your life. When you turn that critic into a teacher, when you use it as a mirror instead of a roadblock, you'll see that every failure is just feedback, and every step forward is a chance to grow. Remember, your life isn't shaped by the thoughts spinning in your head, but by the steps you actually take. Don't let overthinking write the script of your life. Start acting. Start living. And if this message hits you, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment and share your own story with overthinking. And send this to a friend who's stuck in the same loop. You might save them from wasting 10 years. Because when we learn to act, we don't just free ourselves, we inspire others to step forward too. Subscribe so you don't miss the next videos.